Electronic crossover.
Stuff about parallel universes?
If you asked me yesterday, I'd say no, but this place changes your perception of what's possible.
I just can't get the events of the previous SWBM attack out of my head. Enemy attack! Return fire! Stop at all costs! Don't let them intercept Alpha!
And in order to activate the kick,
got a serious point in this, and I was shocked doing a roaring Christmas trade. I've been asked to alert you to watch out for thousands of forged £10 notes which are flooding the high street. They're very good forgeries, but fortunately there's one tiny little mistake. If you see there, you see where it says I promise to pay the bearer, there's a full stop when there ought to be a comma, so that's where I need forgeries. Okay, that's that done with. Now, also, if you thought that this government was completely out of touch with the plight of old folk who can't afford to keep warm in winter, then you'd be wrong, because they've just published a handy How to Keep Warm guide for old age pensioners, and there it is, that's the guide. It just shows they really can go to the Caribbean as their advice. Now, some royal news in pictures, and Princess Diana's fashion designers have come up with the perfect outfit for her new low-profile lifestyle. Now it's my pleasure to welcome a man who in 1993 shot from obscurity to being very much one of the men of the year, following his extraordinary claims to being abducted by aliens to another planet. So for another out-of-body experience, please welcome Mr. Norman House.
Control it is my job to test biscuits for comestibility.
Yes.
And I do this by biting into them,
yes,
tasting them for flavour and texture. And if the biscuit is satisfactory, I allow another 4 million to go by. I haven't tested this.
No, I don't know on trust. So this is when you do this biscuit test, what do you do?
It's an area, environment of it.
What's the popular area currently?
Great Park, it nestles in a little valley where we're surrounded by countryside and we have a small town.
Yes.
Because the Romans first put down their Roman baths were put down in Ipswich.
I wasn't going to ask you about the history of Ipswich. It's more to do with your astonishing experience of being abducted by aliens. Now, where were you when this happened?
I was out with my wife Wendy, who also lives in the Ipswich area. Just above the garage, we have a little flatlet.
Yes.
And we're out of an evening. I was out metal detecting.
Is that?
Yes, I've got this.
Right.
Actually, I found this metal detector years ago. I was very lucky because I bought a French metal detector.
Yes.
And lo and behold,
It was...
metal detector almost as brand new.
All right, so I suppose that's true. I suppose metal detectors are made of metal,
They
aren't
are made of metal. One of the problems with a bad metal detector is that if it's really poorly made, it'll start detecting itself. A friend of mine had a detector which detected itself and started just curling out and trying to eat the handle.
Yes. But this is a good one, actually.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
And we were out in the car, and then I got out of the car and started detecting.
Yes.
And suddenly I saw this strange glowing object hovering about 1.5 feet above the ground.
Well, it wasn't headlights, was it?
No, it was an unearthly object, non-metallic, otherwise the detector would have... And I felt strangely calm, but at the same time horribly terrified. And I didn't know what to do. It just stayed there glowing.
What sort of size was it?
About that size. But it was just hovering there, and I felt something beckoning.
Yes.
A mental beckoning, a physical beckoning, and I suddenly saw a creature get out of the walls and begin slowly to suck me into its orbit.
Yes.
Mentally.
Mentally suck you.
Mentally sucked me into the orbit, and I fell into a trance, and the next thing I knew, I was elsewhere.
Did you take these pictures?
No, these snaps were taken by my wife, Frankie. Johnny,
Yeah, you got two pictures.
that's the better one, the black and white one. Yeah, that one's upside down.
Oh, right.
That was more colourful than that, but nothing's misshapen it.
What do these pictures look like? Yeah,
Well, they're otter-like in shape.
Yeah.
Sort of, they look rather like this, you see.
yeah.
That sort of shape. Another one like this.
Yeah.
The one that took me.
That was another two. How long did you spend on this place?
I was there for approximately 4 years.
Yeah.
Or it seemed to be about 4 years, but in fact was only 3 minutes of our
Right.
and
And which planet were you on? Was it Mars or Venus?
IKEA. There are people who arrived millions of years ago in cardboard boxes and were forced to assemble themselves.
I see. Probably accounts for the strange shape, I suppose. But...
Well, yes, they had no instructions.
And why were they interested in you? You in particular, or us at all?
I think they shared my love of metal.
Yeah.
But it was mainly because they have a museum up there devoted to rock and roll.
Yeah, our rock and roll.
Our rock and roll.
Yeah.
And the only rock and roll they've ever heard was Manfred Mann.
Yeah.
And they were unsure about the lyrics of one of his hits, which was, there I was walking down the street going do-a-dee-dee-dee-dee-dum-dee-dee. And that bit of the lyric was missing.
All right.
So they only got up to dum-dee-dee-dee-dum-dee-dee, and they wanted to know what came after it.
And were you able to tell them?
No, I didn't know that lyric. So they were most dissatisfied with me, and they are dissatisfied with everything really up there.
But how do they communicate with you? Could they speak English?
No, they think they can speak, and they communicate through thought waves.
Yes.
Through vibrations, timeless eon vibrations.
And you could pick this up, could you?
I could tell that they didn't like what they'd got.
Yeah. What's the atmosphere like on the planet?
Well, it's very thin. Very thin atmosphere. If I hadn't had some air in my jumper and socks with me, I would have probably been stifled because it's just what I imagine being in Mexico City's like.
Yes. So what do they do, like, for air, for breathing, for food? What do they eat?
They've been on a diet for 2 million years because they don't eat. They have no stomachs or no mouths. They just have, well, I'll show you the pictures. They just have a shape of an otter and 2 slit eyes.
Yes.
So it's a good thing they don't eat because there's really nowhere for them to put the food.
Has this experience to change you in any way?
Yes, it's an experience like that. In fact, that experience made me realise just how insignificant they were.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, now let's move on.